Thank you, Tanya, and welcome everyone to the agent track on my part. And of course, Tanya and the Coco, thank you for having me here. It's great to be part of the community conferences. And so I think we are going. I already mentioned a bit about from zero. What is this from zero to hero? When you are creating your own agents without any coding needs. So this should be an easy one for everyone to follow up, and you can even get started if you don't have a Copilot license, because some features will work if you just have a Microsoft 365 account like E3 or 5 in your use. So let's go further. And so what I'm going to talk about, surprise, no code agents. What are these in there, and what's the agent builder? But most of the time I will be spending on showing you a demo live how to do it. And I don't have a demo video backup or anything like that. So we go with the flow. And then some things for you to just catch up with the know before you build a few things about the agent builder, kind of a summary until we wrap up. My name is Vesa Nopanen, and just like Tanya already mentioned, everybody calls me Vesku, and that's the common nickname for Vesas in Finland, so Vesku is good. I'm a principal consultant for AI native future work at Sulava MEA, which stands for Middle East and Africa. That's where the customers are. Our headquarters are in Dubai, so that's where we have very, very interesting projects going on. But besides work, I'm also Microsoft MVP for Teams and Foundry. And then there's my Linktree QR code. If you want to click scan it, you will be able to read my blog and follow me in link, connect with me at LinkedIn, and so on. Physically, I'm in Finland, in city of Turku, and so I'm working from home most of the time until I'm traveling. So, like next week, if you are at Orlando, there's a Microsoft 365 Community Conference. That's where I will be hosting a workshop with my MVP friend Adam Delting. So if you are there, catch me up and let's say hi. But now let's jump to the session agenda itself. So what we have usually is the knowledge problem. This is of course nothing new. Copilot itself can help you already with that. Information is gathered, and of course Copilot can get the information from various places. But is that all information like relevant? We know there are people who like to make copies of files. So you have V1, V2, V3, which is the final version, and then V4, which is the final version, and so on. Which of those are really the right ones to use? But then again, we are asking the same question all over again. Well, of course, when we are talking to people, we are repeatedly asking the same questions. Okay, I hope not. But with Copilot, we have the same kind of things we want to ask. Hey, what's my weekly summary? Or hey, but please, I don't want it like that. I want it in different ways. So you are ending up developing a prompt there and scheduling that, or using a co-work and so on. But in essence, you have a conversation and with Copilot and until you have the right answer. Or you are the happy person who's joining the new mega project. And it's going to take you a while to kind of learn everything and about what's the project all about, where are the files. So remember the point one, scattered all over the place. And the information is here and there, and you have a hard time understanding what's the big picture. Or a bit similar like the one you just write the same prompt to Copilot repeatedly all the time. So why don't you, if you just could ask an agent about that? So the solution is, of course, purpose-built AI agents. I don't know why I left the assistance word there. I may blame Copilot Cowork. I used that to create the presentation. And I have to say, it's getting better all the time, because I actually kept most of the presentation. So, of course, instead of asking those things, you can have an agent. You go ahead and ask the agent about that. Then you have an agent that's scoped to something about the knowledge. You have selected knowledge sources or content, what the agent is using when it's replying to you. It knows the context is about this project. It has the rules, whatever you have set to the agent. And the best thing is that you can just build it. You are no IT person, you are not a dev. No worries, you can be a business person and you just create your agent without a code because it's very easy. And then you know your content. You can select, okay, which ones are the correct ones. And you can use it right within the Microsoft 365 Copilot. And it's not on the slides. I didn't go to the license part, but even if you don't have a Copilot license, but you still have Microsoft 365 in use, you can create these agents. They just don't have access to your work data. So you can use web data for the agents. But the point here is that it's going from being a generic Copilot that tries to discover the information from every place, or you end up adding to your content there multiple times. It's your AI focusing on the specific topic. So what are these Copilot Studio Agent Builder agents? Like we talked with Tanya in the beginning, names tend to change. When I submitted this, it was still kind of a Copilot Studio was shown quite a many times there, and now it looks like Agent Builder is back. It was Agent Builder at some point. All right, so what you can do with this? Well, these are so-called declarative agents. We are not developing those. They are just sitting on top of Copilot, utilizing the Copilot engine to run them. And they are focused on certain topic, focused on certain knowledge domains. They have certain instructions and behaviors. And you can have this conversation with them just like with Copilot. It's not a question and answers game. It's a conversation. And it's grounded on the data you have shown. So whenever it's replying, it's not just about, okay, we have scope to those, but it's grounding the answers based on the data you have given to that. So it could be the organizational data, usually. Hey, let's pick the SharePoint site from there, or let's pick those specific files or something else. And that's the knowledge the agent you will be using when replying to your questions. All right, then just to kind of to show where the agent builder is sitting. The agent ecosystem, kind of a short view of that, is that what we are building are lightweight agents. They don't have too many capabilities. They are usually like FAQs. They are helping on onboarding. They can help on knowledge retrieval. They can create documents or analyze documents and do that sort of thing. It's very lightweight. You cannot start to do like automated or automatically triggered agents with this lightweight builder, the agent builder here. Then you have SharePoint agents, which are scoped to site or sites in SharePoint, so you can utilize knowledge in SharePoint, and you have an agent based on that, and you can utilize them within SharePoint, of course, and in Teams conversations. But things will get interesting when you are going to Copilot Studio. So you are entering the low-code world and building basically enterprise agents there. That's where you can have processes, workflows. You can have integrations there. You can even create these agents and use them externally if you want, or you can utilize information from Microsoft Foundry in there and bring those, put in the triggers to agents so they run automatically, and create even multi-agents. So it's further there, and then of course there's the pro code agents in the Microsoft Foundry and the other ecosystems as well. That's where you are starting to build more advanced information. You can utilize even more models and so on. But as you can guess, the lightweight ones, agent builder, we don't have that many building blocks there. But we have some. So we can put in like the look and feel, the name and icon and description there. But the key is really the instructions, how we want the agent to behave. And then we have knowledge sources. Where does it get its knowledge or content from? And then we have few capabilities that we can enable, like a code interpreter shouts, hey, this is too complex, but it's basically just gives the agent ability to plan, create, and execute code automatically. You don't have to worry about that. But what it does with the code is that it can understand and analyze, for example, Excels, large Excels as well. It can generate new documents like Word files, Excel files, and so on. It can generate images there, and it can understand your people and organizational data. So this is how we are getting going. Let's jump and start building our agents there. So what I have here is the Microsoft 365 Copilot application. And yes, this is the application there. And from there, under agents, you can see new agent. And so let me click on new agent, and oh, that was fast today. Usually this takes a bit of time when done first. And I jump directly to configure part. And well, in the configure, yeah, I don't have any information, but I do have templates. So from templates, this is a very good way to get started. Hey, I need a text translator. I just go to the template and wait a few moments, and Copilot will fill this up for me. So there's already a name and description and even icon, but there's instructions, what it does. So it helps to break language barriers in real time. And it has built in the skills there, like it's not very well formatted, but there's skill 6, skill 5, and so on. But it doesn't have any knowledge sources set up or capabilities, but it has suggested prompts that you can just click on and you can see them right there. That's just one template. There's the corporate comms crafter. Yes, let's replace this with that one. And now we can see Markdown in the instructions. We can see the purpose, guidelines, just a bit of text formatting there. It's a lot easier to read, and so on. These are really good for two purposes. First, you need something that there's a template for. Hey, start with that. Or you want to learn more about how to write instructions. That's also a good thing. Customer Insights Assistant, let's try that one. And we can see, okay, again, it wasn't done with the Markdown, but it's a bit shorter. But I'm not going to build one with template. Instead, I'm going to start creating my own. So what I have here is the describe. This is where I can use just my own words to describe what kind of agent I need. And this is where the business people find it usually very good, very familiar. I just have to tell it. I just use my own words, natural language. Well, what kind of agent I need. I don't need to know any too much prompting. If you know some prompting, it really helps, of course, but you can get along with the shorter ones as well. Now, so like an example is create a data analysis agent to help me quickly understand files. Yeah, it's a bit short. It doesn't give much context. Now, what I have here is I have a demo environment or a demo project. It's called Project Warp by Cisco Provisions. I don't know if you know about the TV series this is coming from, but you might try to guess it. So let me just create an agent there. So let's create a Project Warp assistant, or let's just change to agent this time. That helps new team members onboarded to a transformation project for Cisco Provisions. It should answer questions about the project scope, timelines, team members, and so on. The tone should be professional but welcoming, and so on. And I already know in which SharePoint site I have the information. So let me just start typing, and I just love the Zoom sometimes. And
Vesa,
yes,
can you share your prompt within the chat?
yes, I can
That would be great.
share it. It won't help you much, but I can share it. Yes.
Thank you.
So let's. If I start writing Cisco provisions here, yes, I can kind of select the files if I want to, but that's not what I want to add. So let's click Add Content, and where is my header? Is it hidden somewhere? There. I had to zoom out. Sorry. This was what I was looking for. So you can add different types. I will zoom back in a moment, but first, or let's do this. So first, I could of course select individual files. I can select meetings for this. I can select chats, channels, and sites. So Teams chats, meeting chats, or Teams channels, and of course SharePoint sites. So let me go and click on the SharePoint site and select the Cisco provisions already. Just to show you that you can select content right away. If you are selecting things from the web, you can just put them to the text and it will be able to understand them right away. So let's start creating this one. I'm going to zoom back in, and then when I go back to the knowledge source, I probably have to zoom out. So it's now starting to plan, okay, what kind of agent to create. And so there's the project warp agent. And so it's telling, okay, this is that kind of agent, what's the scope, what I should reach out to, and so on. So it has been set up, added the SharePoint site as the main knowledge source, designed to assist with project scope, yes. And I would just have to click create and it's done. But before I do that, of course, I want to tune in a bit and show you a few things as well. So let's go back to configure. And here we have a very non-warp icon. What's new here is basically you can generate from agent details, because now we have description and instructions, generate as an icon. I don't have to go to a Copilot somewhere, start asking to generate an icon and then resize the picture to fit in. And yeah, you know the trouble if you've been doing that. But now I can just ask it to generate an icon. But if you have some, then you can browse for that or upload, but I'm not going to click and interrupt the generation right now because it takes a few moments. Anyway, so let's see what kind of icon I'm getting today. Something blocky, looks like that. But you can already see in the background that when you're used to describe, it's feeding you a lot of things. Why I like this is that it also fills in the suggested prompts. So I don't have to start inventing them. That's you, and usually with a good describe, you are already close enough. So let's just use that one. I'm not picky today on the icon. You should give it a good description, so when you start sharing it, people know about what it is all about, and you remember what it is all about. And it has created instructions. We can see it's using the markdown there. This is the main header, then there's the header level 2, and so on. And just kind of making it easy to understand. Yes, we have purpose, general guidelines, some skills, all created based on the description. So that's why a longer description is a good idea. Step-by-step workflow, yes, error handling. And we can edit anything we like. Because whenever we are editing something in any of these boxes, we just go there and type, and when we click out of that, it's going to mention here draft autoscript. And if for some reason it says failed, don't worry, go back to the box, put the space there and click out, and it will try again. Usually it works at least on the third time, but most often it works on the first time. So then we have instructions, which is really the key. We are getting back to those, but the other major part is the knowledge. So here, what we already have the SharePoint. So I added the SharePoint site. But what I want to add here as well is that I do have Teams conversation that's happening on in the project warp channel. there's some Teams conversation and information there as well that I want to use. I do also have some emails about this project from Harry Mudd. Some of you might know the person. So let's add them. Okay. And again, I'm going to click here and I can start adding sources. My emails is that I can only select my emails and that's it. And if you are sharing this agent, my email becomes the person you share it to, that person's emails. So it's when you share it, that person is not getting access to your emails at any point. And of course, I could add up to 100 individual SharePoint files. So to be honest, I don't know if the site is counted as one or all the site files counted as individuals. But I would imagine that hopefully you don't have too many sites that have hundreds and hundreds of files. But I would still add that site if all files there are relevant. But if you have those final version 3 files there, then you should be selecting either just selected folders from the site or selected just selected individual files. And to select that folder, by the way, I think that might be a bit tricky. So I have two folders there. I have Project Warp and General. And if I wanted to add, so let's say just this Project Warp, then I'm going to copy the link there, or I can go to that one and then copy the link from there. And let me just remove this SharePoint site that I had already added. So now it's gone, and I'm just going to paste the link here. And when I click it, there I have Project Warp added. So this is the way you can add individual folders there quite easily. So we have not the whole site this time, but it doesn't matter. We just take on the focus on only on the documents and then emails and the Teams channels. So let's I could just search for chats, but here we can see we have group chats, we have channels, we have meeting chats. So let's see if we can find the warp, not wrap, and Project Warp conversations. I have done too many wrap-ups. So, so then I have Teams, and I could be adding up to four different external sites as just pasting URLs. If I click on search all websites, then you are not adding individual sites, of course, but we are not going to be doing that. So this is how we can, and we can even add, if we have meetings and meeting recaps, we can pick them up, select as the knowledge source. And what I usually do, use only specified sources. This is not blocking the GenAI generic knowledge it has, but it will prioritize basically these sources we have put. So it tries to restrict to these ones, but it's not necessarily perfect. And then we are referencing the organizational chart if I want to know more about people profiles. And you can also add, if you have added Copilot connectors, you might have some enterprise websites there, like I have something from Sulava for old one, and Azure Foundry stuff, just websites. I could be adding them as a knowledge source. And then there's a question, what is your recommendation for AI readable files for every company should follow, like doing markdowns, file names, etc. I don't know what's the idea and secret there in the chat, but somebody's developing something. You might want to do that. But recommendation, yeah, we are using the Office documents a lot. So I'm not creating MD files or Markdown files out of Word files for sake of that. But agents do understand Markdown because it's very lightweight, it's very simple, it's structured, and it's not so messy as the Word document, to be honest, so they will understand it better. But so if you have a choice, sometimes, yeah, some information and content should be on Markdown, but in real collaboration world, we are working with Word documents and PowerPoints. So we have now a few things, and I could be just asking these from predefined prompts here. What's the scope of the project one? And here we have the agent preview, the test section, and this is your friend. So this is where you can start testing your agent and then fine-tune things here. Like perhaps we want some other suggested prompts there. And so like I may want to just update the project overview with my own text there. What's the scope? Let's just add and ask what's the phase we are currently in. And it's going to say agent refresh it when I'm doing changes. So let's put here team members and who are team members and what are their responsibilities. And I could just put there a couple more. We can add 6 of these that are making sense. There's recent decisions, but let's add a suggested prompt there about budget. We don't, okay, I copied the wrong text from it's a bit tricky when it's writing, so I have to wait a bit. So we are getting information about the scope of WAP from the project WAP, and so just about what we are doing, configuration rollout of Copilot to all employees in Cisco provisions. Sounds like a good team. And Copilot Chat Agents and so on, and what's out of scope, and then one sentence summary. So we are covering Copilot stuff and so on. So when we click on new chat, we basically have these new updated recommended prompts. And when I add a new one, you can see it's already coming there. Okay, let's take that one out. So this is how to get started. But however, we want to enable a few things there. First of all, if we want to create documents or charts, or if we wanted to create code, we can enable this something called code interpreter. It used to read that, but I think it's more understandable for most of people to understand, hey, I need to create documents and just turn that feature on. So we can see we can create Word document, Excels, and PowerPoints, and some other files as well. Then we can create images if we turn it on. So we just ask it to create visual images. We can use code interpreter part to create charts. And for example, but here we can create images like icons and logos and background images and whatever. Yes, we have quite a good instruction, but then again, if depending when you are testing that, you may find that okay, you may need to refine it. So I have a kind of a new version of these instructions that I'm just going to copy paste over. So I'm just going to rewrite them totally. You can do any changes you like. But what I have done there is kind of I added there's some guardrails. There's a bit more text about skills, a bit more about how to answer, about the error handling part, project concepts. You can also put information in here if you like, because this is basically repeating some of the information. Then there's some glossary about, okay, what is SP, for example, and so on. So you can get more information. So let's just make sure that it's there, and let's ask, okay, what's project WAP and what's the phase we are in? Now, and like what I didn't point out last time is where it got the information from. So now that we are running this, we should be seeing that, okay, it's getting the information from those files in SharePoint. Okay, there's also a couple of questions. Can users with no Copilot license use agents created by licensed users? Yes, if they are only using web or prompts for the data. So if you are using work data there, unlicensed users cannot create those, use those agents. So you have to be very careful what kind of agents you are creating. But if you use those templates, those are kind of agents where you can see examples. Can an agent use specific corporate design templates for Word and PowerPoint for creating content? That's a good question. If you have the template in the knowledge source and you reference to that template when you're asking to create a new document, it can use it to some extent. I don't have an example demo of that, but that's a kind of trick you can use. But it doesn't have a kind of thing. You always use this. You can try to do that in instructions. I haven't tried it for a couple of months now, for a few months. But when I was trying it out last year, that was the way to go. Kind of a reference to that and then create it. Is there a possibility to include more than 4 websites as a knowledge source? Well, you can turn on all websites. Then you don't have a control which websites it's going to pick. It's going to use Bing search. But for other than 4, then you might want to add them as enterprise, like Copilot connectors, and add websites there. Then you would be able to click them on. But I haven't tried that. Is it really that smart? It's going to block those, but I would think it does. It's not. But so you have to pick all 4 websites or all, or talk to IT admin and try to convince them to add those as enterprise websites, which may be a bit difficult because they will be available in Copilot then as well, not just in these. All right, so what's the phase? We are in phase 2. And we know we got the answers from the FAQ document. We have a FAQ document about this project, and if I just click it open, I'm going to get it open, and it's there. Let me just move the Teams bar out of my way. Here we can see there's the FAQ document. So that information came from there. Then we have the other one coming from other source document. So it's again the FAQ document, and we have all the references in here. We got a bit more concise reply this time about what's the phase and what we are doing then in using our first instructions. And then we can go ahead and ask for more questions like, okay, perhaps we want to know who's responsible for AI governance on this project, and so on. Could be also asking about the risks. Let's see how fast or slow this is, if I have time to go through all these points here. Right, so here it's picking up the information from the documents, but I can also ask about let's try ad hoc question about, okay, who am I? And I'm using Christina as my demo account, but it has my account on the system as well. So it's the project summary and what I'm doing. So I'm there on the consulting team. I promoted myself to CEO, but yeah, and, for the project, but otherwise I'm principal consultant. So this information is coming from the organizational chart. And then there's information about that. But let's if we want try a few things like, okay, let's go ahead and ask about documents. What are the top risks there? And again, now it's going, hopefully, let's see, it's going, I had a risk Excel here, and now No, I had a team roster. It already information came from there. It was the other demo where I had the risk Excel. But basically, it will read Excels and be able to provide information about that. So it's going to search if there's something on the risk register and give us the information. But what's going to be more fun? Let me just ask it to. Okay, I'm going to cancel that because I'm going to run out of time otherwise. Let's ask it to create a pie chart showing the project warp high-level budget breakdown, and it will be able to get that information from documents and Excel. And so, okay, so there's more questions there. And can users with no Microsoft Copilot license use agents created by licensed users? If the agent published by Copilot Studio instead of Agent Builder, yes, that's possible. And you can even copy your Agent Builder agent as a base for Copilot Studio agent. And then there's the pay-as-you-go. And you also have a pay-as-you-go option on SharePoint knowledge agents as well in there. So that's possible. Okay, but what we see there is coding and executing because it needs to code when it's creating a chart. This is slower today than I hoped.
Vesa, do you know which kind of large language model is currently behind the agent builder? I think it's 5, right? It's GPT-5.
I think
5.
Okay, I will show you that in a moment, but on default, I think it's being upgraded to 5.2 at the moment.
5.2, okay. Yeah, that's why it's doing reasoning over there, right? Or coding.
Yeah. It has, but what I see compared to some other earlier models, this coding and executing is taking longer time than it used to, and it's a bit slower there. But I think it's a larger model as well. So, but to save a bit of time, I do have the WAP assistant I created earlier, and so I can. It's just basically the same agent with a slight changes here, but using the same data. And by the way, once you have saved or created this agent, you can choose which model to use. So you can actually use 5.4 already with your agent builder agents, because when you're using them, you can make the selection. And in there, I'm going to ask you to create one-page project summary in the Word format. So I'm going to run this parallel because it just takes a few moments, but here it found the Excel file and it's going to tell, okay, interesting what it's doing. It didn't want to create a pie chart for me this time. Okay, I'm disappointed, I have to say. Usually it creates that pie chart. But I'm not going to dwell on that too much, but instead I'm going to just jump to the new chat here on testing and create a professional visual that represents the AI transformation journey. So I'm just showing you how the image creation works here. But it should have created the pie chart. So this was first time for a long time. But meanwhile, the Word file creation seems to be going on. So it's creating that, updating the document title, and putting the information there about the document. So it's just going to take a while, and I'm going to check back on that in a few moments. Right, because this is also taking time. I didn't take the third one, but perhaps I should. Let's just take the third agent to play, because I have it, the one I created earlier, just to show you also why the guardrails are important. So I'm going to ask it something that's are irrelevant. Like, what's the best restaurant in Turku for team dinner? It's only relevant to Project Warp because it's for the team. So it's going to say, okay, that's a great question, but it's outside the scope. And the answer is coming this way because we have the guardrails there. Do not answer questions that are out of the scope of agent purpose. Politely tell user that the questions are the scope. And we have a not so photorealistic image, but about something about this journey. And it has rewritten how to create. And meanwhile, it's still creating the document. This is taking way longer, but we can see the Python code. So it's going to generate that and download the Word document. Hey, now we have it. And when I click it open, we can see the weekly status summary. It has created that, put on all the information there, and we could just save it wherever we need it and start utilizing it. And so what we can also do when we are in Word, I'm not sure if this is going to allow me editing this, confidential internet use only, but let's open Copilot. And we can utilize our agent like this. Where was it now? There's the Bob assistant. I could ask it to edit. Sorry, no, I cannot just ask questions. The edit worked earlier, worked for me. But I can select these agents when I'm working in Word, and I can ask questions there. And of course, when I'm in email, I could also just utilize the agent. But before we can do that, we have to create the agent. So we are now happy there. Let's hit the create button so we can actually start using that. Because the one I was using in those earlier was the one I created before. But it was that easy. It was created and it's now private for me. I can share it, anyone in the organization, and then when I share the link, they can add this agent to themselves. But it depends on how you have added some knowledge. They may not have access to Teams channel, so they don't have access to that Teams. If I added a SharePoint site, you have to make sure that they have access to SharePoint site. If you add 10, I share it to specific people in the organization, like 98 people, max 98 people, or groups. I can add teams like project. I can share this with everyone at Project Warp. Okay, the search is working really well today. Right, why not? Because its team is called Cisco. Yeah, there. So I could share it with anyone in the team. And then if somebody wouldn't have access to some SharePoint, then it would ask, okay, should we give it to access? And then it will add and create that access, but it's not limited to this agent anymore after that. So you have different ways how to share it. And if you then want to publish it like to everybody, then copy it to Copilot Studio or download it as a zip file and then make it contact the IT admins here. There's my agent. Can you then start publishing that for everybody? And they publish it as kind of a Teams application there. All right. I think I jumped to the session and then I take the questions at the end if we still have time. Tanya is starting to look, okay, how long I'm going to speak. I'm like, Kevin, it's never stops. All right. So just a kind of a few things know before you build. There's different knowledge sources you can add. I went through, I didn't show you, okay, you can upload your files from device up to 20 to upload them to the agent. You can also browse through in the UI that, okay, let me add the specific files from my sources, like okay, I'm going to show that one quickly because I tend to skip this because there's the upload and then there's attached cloud files. And when I click it, I can go and start going through my different SharePoint sites and select the files or folders from there. I don't have to use the link all the time. But yeah, Copilot connectors are there and this. And these respect existing permissions, and if you have their sensitivity labels that are preventing Copilot to use certain files, these are respected as well. But just remember, if the agent asks you to add permissions when you are sharing it, you have to show the share path again once more, and I'm going to share it to somebody. Let's add it, share it just to, I think I have there or somebody, and I go with continue, and it's going to ask, okay, should I share it? And if I select yes, it will create the permissions for Project WOP folder for Antti, so he can read them. But if I then remove the sharing and delete the agent, the permissions still are going to be there. Then a few things, just when you're crafting these instructions, think about, okay, this looks like a lot. You don't need them all, but when you start adding those and you are testing your agent, you notice that, okay, I can make this better. Like you probably may need examples there. Hey, I'm adding these 3 Excel files there, but there's some mystical column names or something like that. I can write them open in instructions. I can tell, okay, these mean this. So AB1, it means actually that this is the product name, and in this Excel file and so on. Those are really good to add. Examples about the outcomes you need. Those are really good. So think about all these points when you are doing that. And Markdown is good for instructions. So instead of just putting things about, hey, before you are helpful assistant that answers questions about Project WOP, then make it structured. Markdown is good there. Agents understand that. And sharing, yes, the default is you, but specific users, you can add that 98. That's, by the way, a very odd one number, or anyone in the organization. But you have to share the link. It's sharing. It's not publishing. When you are publishing things, then you can make things appear in their M365 Copilot application. And so on next, think about these use cases when you start going forward, preparing your knowledge, or where is your knowledge, what you would be using. Think about building the agent, and you want to test, refine, and repeat that for a while, and then you start sharing that with your team members, because you don't want the agents to yourself only, unless they are really like, okay, I'm the only one really needing this. Usually we work in teams. So the key takeaways is that no code is needed in here, and instructions are really the heart and soul there, of course, along with the knowledge. And you should ground them in the right knowledge sources. They may be web, they may be work data you have, uploaded files, select the ones, but you can iterate this really, really fast, as you say. And if you think about, okay, you are asking the same question all over again, that's your first agent already. So I'm going to jump to see what kind of questions there are, if we still have time for these. And I'm going to find where I was when reading this, because there's a lot of conversation. Good, and thank you for that. The pay-as-you-go, yes. I have just created the knowledge agents for summary of old projects. I hope it's faster and more accurate than using the worktab in Copilot. And yes, that's if you put the instructions and the right knowledge sources, yes, it's going to be more accurate there, because it doesn't search everything. And Copilot, when it's discovering information, it's always using the recently most used, usually when it's surfacing information, unless you have put in the prompt a lot of other things. Is there a way to get custom agent to support voice chat? Copilot Studio. Go there, but it still doesn't support the voice chat in Copilot, but you can create agents where you can hook it to the telephony or publish it as a custom website or somewhere else, and that's where you have a voice chat. Or as Teams applications, I think there's I'm not sure it was their voice as well. I'm not going to promise that. Do you have okay, there's just conversation. Is that really a guardrail? Is securing agent or just securing by obscurity? That's a good it's kind of guardrail. But we have to remember that we are following Copilot guardrails, like responsible AI use, ethical use. It has a lot of different guardrails where we cannot affect anything on these agents. These are declarative agents that are running on top of Copilot. So we have our guardrails concerning our agent purpose. So it's not that kind of guardrail you are getting from Microsoft Foundry. Those are already in place and you cannot change them. If you want to utilize those, then you need to create a bit more advanced agent. Are there any plans to improve the performance within the agent builder? It's quite frustrating if you are doing small changes. You have to wait a long time. I don't think it's a huge time to wait, and I think it depends on capacity, and so there's been a fluctuation clearly how fast these things are responding, and I'm quite sure Microsoft is working on that part. What's the recommendation of the language to be used in instructions in English or other language? Yeah, you can use different languages there, but if you want this agent to be multinational, then I would prefer to use English. And English is the main language the agent AI is trained on. So there's the most content, so it's kind of makes it number one, but there's a lot of other languages there. I could be writing that in Finnish and use that. I just haven't had the need to do that. I don't see any reason why you'd be able to use it. What does the two hashtags means? It's a header 2. It's like a heading. So heading level 2, one hashtag level 1, level 2 is level 2, 3 level 3, just like that.
It's Markdown language, right? Agents love to get Markdown instructions.
Yeah, it's easier for them. It's simple. It's much more easy than understanding a Word document. It's marked kind of code. What they have, it's there. Is it possible to provide us your master prompt system prompt instructions for agent? Like, yes, I can copy that to the chat, and so you can have it. It's fine. And by the way, as a hint, just create yours with Copilot.
Yes, I already also wrote that in the chat.
All right, I wasn't there up to that time, so yeah. So that's that's also a good thing, and prompt coach is a good one there. Any standard agent developed it has ED, information data protection abilities. I don't know what kind of abilities you mean, but
I thought it's intelligent document processing, IDP. Is it information data protection? Both is possible, right?
Yeah, that's the risk when you are using. We are just like an AI. We are losing context. We don't know which way to go here. But I don't know the both. I guess can we restrict the agent to make reference to selected pages in SharePoint side? You can put on the pages there if you just use the URL. So you are selecting those pages. Intelligent document processing. So it will, and if you upload a document, Word document there or PDF, it will be able to put out some information, but that's not a very kind of a wide. Okay, I think I ran out of time.
You're right, Vesa. But thank you so much. Please give a short applause to Vesa. Use the reactions, use the chat. Thank you so much for that session. I think we're all able to build agents within the agent builder now, or what it's called, in the next weeks and months. I'm pretty sure about that.
Actually, I didn't even think it would take an hour to explain, but yeah, I tend to show things, so it takes a while.
Thank you so much, Vesa.